Welcome back to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Tojiro VG-10 hammered Gyuto 210mm knife. So the construction of this, it's all stainless, so you have 3 layers, and in the center hard core cutting steel is VG-10 full stainless, heat treats around 60 Rockwell in that core steel, and then you got a soft stainless cladding on either side of that core steel for 3 layers. That cladding has a hammered pattern, and it also has a kurouchi, or kind of a blacksmith protective finish on it as well. So this is a really interesting looking knife. You can see the hammer marks are pretty deep on here. Sometimes that's known as a tsushime or pebble type finish as well, hammered finish. The weight and dimensions should be fairly similar from knife to knife. This particular one is 136 grams or 4.8 ounces, so it's a light package. It also has a lightweight handle. The edge length is about 212 millimeters on this one, or about 8.3 inches or so. And the overall length is about 348 millimeters or 13.7 inches. This pretty much just has the same thickness all the way down the blade. It's about 2.4 millimeters thick, and it's a little hard to measure with the hammering on it, but pretty much just same thickness all the way throughout. And you can see they don't really thin out the tip a huge amount, so it's got a fair amount of meat at the tip, and it's also got a little bit of meat at the edge, so it's not like a super skinny at the edge, skinny at the tip kind of grind. It's got a bit of meat behind it. These are very sharp out of the box. I'm going to give this a full-on 7 out of 10. It's one of the sharper knives I've used in a while. It's got a very nicely crafted edge on it, consistent bevel, and it's really sharp. And that does help the performance. I was kind of surprised how well this performed, given that little bit extra thickness at the tip and the edge. It's not going to be a laser, but I was pretty impressed with the performance. Now, some of that, again, might be the sharpness. So this is a knife that you might have to keep pretty sharp if you want to keep the performance up. It's inherently not just going to flow through stuff like some, let's say, laser-style knives would. But it's a very nice-looking knife. It's got a frosted blade road. You can see the core steel peeking out there in the shiny edge bevel. The blade height is not super tall. It's 43.9 or about 44 millimeters tall. It's got a fairly wide neck. You can see how wide that neck is, basically as wide as the handle. So you don't really have a crook in there. You just have a continuation of the ferrule right into where you put your finger for a pinch grip. So you can see there's not a ton of clearance there, so you're going to have to kind of mind your grip and not get all way out here with your knuckles and such to keep that clearance on there. But tinkering with it a little bit, I had no problem with it, although my hands aren't that big. The balance point, the handle is, well, let's just talk about the balance point first. So the handle is very light. It's a hoe wood handle, which is very lightweight wood, so that brings the balance point up here. So it's got just a little bit of a mass, kind of weight forward feel to it, even though it's very light. The handle is D-shaped, kind of right-hand oriented hoe wood with a plastic or resin collar on there. And there's always a little bit of a step here in the wood. That's just a construction, but it seems pretty tight on the glue up on it. And, decent fit and finish on the handle. The knife itself has some kind of etched in kanji symbol, made in Japan. See if you can kind of catch some of that. You can see the hammer marks. So it's a very attractive looking blade. Kind of looks like moon craters there, doesn't it? Really pretty flow from the polishing, and or I should say, kind of the sandblasting of the blade road into the edge. So it's a really cool pattern on there, where the cladding meets the core. Let's see, handle circumference is about 3 inches, 76 millimeters, right where the collar comes into the hoe wood, so pretty standard. It's a fairly stiff blade and clean grinds, nice and straight. Again, very sharp out of the box. Here is what the profile looks like on the cutting board. So you can see a fairly aggressive belly towards the front part, so that gets you, up in that range before you kind of start digging the tip in. So you can get pretty high on this for rocking. It definitely likes to rock. and it's not a huge amount of flat anywhere, but just kind of flows into the back of the blade. So this would be great for push-pull cutting, glide cutting, rocking for sure. You could do some tip draws with it, or you have to get a little bit higher. Definitely not a chopper, you can really see that. But it's a cool package. It looks neat. It's got some nice steel on it. Very attractive, so neat package. So this is the Tojiro VG-10 hammered Gyuto 210mm knife.